Hello, good evening, and welcome to your award-winning show, Business Focus, your weekly business and economic analysis program live here on TV3. My name is Parkwesi Asari, and thank you very much for joining us on yet another edition. Well, so what are we looking at today? It's just 10 days for Ghana's ports to go paperless, and already some challenges have been identified following a pilot process conducted on Friday at the Tema port. While some stakeholders have raised concerns on the level of consultation with regards to the entire process. So the big question is, are we ready to take off on September 1? Are we ready? Are the stakeholders ready to take off with the paperless process? So we're going to be exploring this issue into greater detail. There are a number of concerns coming up. We'll get some responses from the Ghana Revenue Authority as well as from the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders. Later on the program, we've got the Movers segment. We're going to be speaking to the Chief Executive Officer of Decocraft. Her name is Akia Obenewa Donko. You can't wait to see that interview. And then finally also we'll bring you some analysis on the commodities market as well as the stock market. What's the price of gold? What's the price of cocoa? And what's the price of oil on the world market, and how's that impacting on the local markets? We've got some analysis coming up later on this program. But first, we'll start off with some summaries of business news making headlines. All right, so we're unable to bring you that summary of business news making headlines throughout the week. We'll bring it to you later on in the program. But let me just start off with our very first discussion, which has to do with the paperless transactions at the country's ports of entries. And it's just 10 days to go already. Some challenges have been expressed by stakeholders. We'll be getting on the phone lines to speak to the Ghana Revenue Authority to find out what they're going to be doing about these concerns. In the studio right now, I've got the president of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Kwabena Ofosu-Appiah. He's here to help us do the discussion. Kwabena, thank you very much for your time and good to have you in the studio.
My pleasure.
Your first time?
Yeah, in a long while.
Okay, okay. So, all right, so that's Kwabena Ofosu-Appiah. He's the president of the Ghana Freight Forwarders Association. So, Kwabena, I'm going to be starting off with you on this issue. We know that clearing agents already have protested the slow pace of work at the Tema port. They contend a reduction of the number of custom officers at the post is delaying the issuance of valuation and classification documents. And so, okay, so let's go for the story, and then I'll come back in studio, Kwabena, to start off with you. So, clearing agents have protested the slow pace of work at the Tema ports. They contend a reduction in the number of custom officers at post is delaying the issuance of valuation and classification documents.
Clearing agents besieged the long room Friday morning to register their displeasure about delays with the issuance of documents. They complained about the number of days of collection, which has increased from 3 days to 2 weeks.
You see, at the end of the day, duties will be collected. But then the question we want to ask is at what cost? The cost element of collecting of duty, that is what we want to bring out. Because if you take your duty, you think that is all, but that is not all. Because at the end of the day, the trader will put every other cost that he didn't factor from the beginning of the process. He will layer it on what goes to the market. And you and I will go into the market and we will be crying that the prices of goods are escalating.
The agents also linked the problem to the recent restructuring, which had necessitated a reduction in the number of custom officers at post. They feared such unsolved challenges would compound the problem.
At the end of the day, really, this paperless thing is going to start from somewhere, and that is the Customs Technical Service Bureau. So if you do not clear the backlog, even if the paperless is successful, this backlog is going to give it, it's going to make situations worse. And at that point, we might not be able to distinguish whether the paperless is working or the paperless is not working. We will just roll everything together to say that it is not working.
Officials of the Tema Customs Collection Point declined to comment on the issue.
All right, so you have the clearing agents there protesting about the slow pace of work at the terminal port and also raises some concerns about the paperless at the ports, which is expected to take off in the next 10 days. We're going to be going on the line shortly to speak to Isaac Krentel, who's the Acting Commissioner at the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority. But I'll start off with the President of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders. I saw you in that video. You were raising some concerns. What were you talking about?
You see, during the clearance process, obviously it starts from somewhere. And that is at the point of the custom classification and valuation report. Now, that's what everything clearing is hinged on. Because from there, if you are satisfied, you go along with the process. If you are not satisfied, you will have to petition the system. Now, for some time now, because of staff restructuring and all of that in customs, unique staffs who have a certain peculiar capacity were moved around, and that delivered a problem. You know, initially we didn't know that was what was happening, and when we probed, we got to know what was happening was the staff rationalization. And for us, it baffled us a bit, because knowing the kind of caliber of staffs in there, we thought that should any sort of rationalization be done, it will take into consideration the effect, the immediate effect, because we run a very live system, you see. So it is not as if it is a process that can be checked for other things to happen and it moves forward again. People are importing. If you watch the statistics, these are the peak period, heralding Christmas. These are the peak periods. People replenish stock, you see. So for whatever piece of intelligence that went into that exercise, we thought that it was flawed. Now, and we have tolerated this for the past 3 to 4 months, you know. When customs were not doing the classification and valuation, it was being done in those days by the destination inspection companies. We had a lot of the problem with that kind of arrangement. So when they took over their core mandate, I mean, with few hitches from the beginning, I mean, everything normalized, and you should see the statistics. We had over 90, in certain cases, over 90% of the reports being delivered within 24 hours, 48 hours. I mean, it was so sweet. So we didn't, we just couldn't, and that arrangement also made us deliver certain service level agreement with our clients that we can deliver on mandate within these days. So having tolerated,
okay, so
yeah.
These are challenges that were occasioned as a result of the staff rationalization process, which began some 3-4 months ago.
That's right.
Now, tell me about the challenges, all the concerns that have been occasioned by the pilot exercise with regards to the paperless system.
You see, Bakwesi, truth be told, the pilot was rolled just about on Friday. We have not started receiving proper feedbacks yet. So we can't even make any scientific analysis of the situation. But we are not expecting to reach nirvana from day one. We know that with every process of this sort, the introduction of anything of this sort, it will suffer certain hitches. We are prepared for those hitches. It just happened that this frustration, it was aired at the time, it coincided with the start of the pilot. So the reportage was as though we were against paperless. We are not against paperless. You know, it is just unfortunate that it had to happen at the time. You know, it was pent-up feeling that had to be expressed, and it was expressed on that.
Right. So quite apart from the rationalization exercise, there's also been the interdiction of some staff, you know, which you say has compounded your problems at the ports, because key people who, you know, play very instrumental roles at the ports have been shifted away. Hold on for me. Let me get on the phone lines now and speak to the Acting Commissioner at the Ghana Customs Division, Acting Commissioner of Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Isaac Krentel. Mr. Krentel, thank you very much for your time. and good to have you on the program. Now, the level of consultation on the paperless ports has been questioned by some stakeholders. Would you agree?
Hello?
Yes, I was asking that the level of consultation on the paperless port exercise has been questioned by some stakeholders. Would you agree it has not gone down well?
Can you come back? I'm not getting you.
Mr. Krentel, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you, yeah.
All right, so Mr. Krentel, Isaac Krentel is the acting commissioner of the Ghana Customs Division. Some stakeholders have questioned the level of consultation with regards to the paperless system that's going to be run at the ports. Have you had some concerns?
I'm not getting you.
Have you had some concerns regarding the level of consultation that has come along with this paperless process?
That if I got you right, you're talking about consent.
Absolutely, sir.
Consent. Okay. You are talking about consent.
Mr. Krentel, can you hear me? Are you well positioned?
Sometimes the lines are not clear, so I can't get you.
Yes, my question is that there are concerns about the paperless exercise, which is taken off in the next 10 days. Have you received those concerns?
Yes. We're looking at the whole issue. If it's not why after you didn't come to the studio, management is looking at so many issues on it. The concern probably that we are willing to carry our stakeholders along. And especially, we're talking about the declarants, that we call them declaring agents, because they are the primary or the intermediate stakeholders that we have to carry them along. So whatever issue that we raise, it means it should be a concern to us. And we are going to look at it very, very seriously.
You know, but I mean, before you started this whole restructuring exercise, did Customs really take into consideration the volume and the output of work at the long room and how it was going to impact on work at the ports?
The line is saying I cannot get you.
My question is, before you embarked on this whole restructuring and staff rationalization exercise, did Customs consider the volume and the output of work at the long room before you did this?
No, this exercise that we are going to do is just that we are just integrating all the systems that were service into one seamless process. So nothing is going to change because nobody is going to lose his job, nobody is being affected. It is the silos of various systems, the Kapoa system, the CMS, the parts that we are, the supply that we are all bringing as a one seamless process. So when you start end to end, it means you do it seamlessly without human intervention, then you take your container away. So nobody is going to be affected. I mean,
but quite apart from the paperless exercise, which is beginning in the next 10 days, my question to you is that freight forwarders have expressed frustrations about the slow pace of work, which they say has been occasioned by the rationing and restructuring exercise, which you started some 3 months ago. That's the question I'm asking.
Yeah, I share with their frustration. But the frustration that they raised is that it doesn't have anything to do with the paperless. Their concern was the delay of the CCVR. But it was a technical hit, and that has been solved during this weekend. So almost every CCVR is now out for them to continue with their work. The paperless is different from this, it's just a portion of the whole system. The CCVR is just a portion of the whole system, and we are hoping that by the 10 days, when the business exercise kicks off, all these things will move on seamlessly without any hitch.
There was a Friday morning protest that was last Friday by some of the freight forwarders. What sort of impact has this had, and what is the solution moving forward from the customs point of view?
To me, that protest that we didn't help us because we have to rally all our stakeholders together to see where we were falling short. And by the end of the Sunday, all these things have been addressed, and now the system is working very well. And I can assure you that they are not going to wait about 2 weeks or more to get their CCDR. And CCDR, it takes about 48 hours to get your CCDR. Yeah.
So, come what may, we are going to begin the paperless exercise in the next 10 days.
Hello?
Come what may, the paperless exercise is going to begin in the next 10 days.
Yes, it's something that we are going to get through moving back. We set ourselves 1st September to move into paperless. And you know, in every system, there's a learning curve, definitely there will be glitches. But that's where we are praying that our stakeholders will go along with us to ensure that we achieve it. See, the importance of this paperless is to be efficiency at the port. That is the one cardinal point, to ensure that efficiency is improved. And people are always talking about corruption and so many issues. And the paperless is going to also address that, because you're going to reduce human intervention at the port. So what's happening is that you sit at the office, you put in your declaration, the system will validate the risk engines, then you go to the port and carry your goods away. So there will be less human intervention, and that will address the corruption. And also the system is also going to help us, because now the customs is going to talk to Gapoa, but there's very good talent. Now with the people that are coming, now they're going to talk to Gapoa. So whatever container that drop, you're able to know where it's going to go. And that's why as always can even help us increase revenue. So it's a good thing in terms of revenue, in terms of even the traders having their goods and doing business at a reduced cost. So it's something that you must all embrace and ensure that it's succeeds.
Mr. Parental, this is going to be my very final question to you. I clearly understand what you seek to achieve with this paperless system, but how are you going to measure the outputs of this new exercise? How are you going to measure the efficiency of this exercise?
We are giving ourselves, by His Excellency the Vice President, about 4 hours. We should be able to clear an consignment or a container. 4 hours. And that's before we are going to work towards that. So our measurement is the 4 hours. But then in every exercise, in the beginning, there will be some few challenges. But we pray that the business containing public will bear with us. And then we move on. As we move on, we treat those weaknesses. And then by the end, when we work on the 4 hours target is achieved. That is our goal. And we are doing this with the hope that even the interest of doing business will come down, cost of doing business will come down, and then things will be well. So the system is being fine-tuned and hoping that, at least, come 1st September, we are doing a similar thing that will bring in efficiency at the port.
Oh, I said this was going to be...
You are talking to Gapoa, you are talking to Discipline Line, you are talking to so many stakeholders at the port.
Oh, I said this was going to be my final question, but this obviously is my final question. So what are you going to say to all those stakeholders, including the freight forwarders who are expressing concerns about this exercise? What's your final word to them?
My final word is that we are all doing this thing together. You know, without them, custom cannot do any other thing. If you need your going to target, they will still need the freight forwarders as intermediaries between the trading public and then the customs. So in all respects, we are doing these things with them. We are also talking to their leaders. We have started this consultation long even before we reach the conservation phase. We are talking to the leaders and we are going to intensify them. We are hopeful that before the weekend, we have meetings with the leaders and then they are straightforward. So that in all their concerns are addressed. What has become us is that Friday and Friday activity. It has really helped us. Probably we were being complacent because of some reason, we were being complacent. That we can call and put all the stakeholders together and then we have addressed it. And now we are setting whatever they want at the right time.
All right, Mr. Isaac Corental, I've got to say a big thank you to you for your time, for joining us on the program. Isaac Corental is Acting Commissioner at the Customs Division. Let me get back in studio and re-engage with Commander Fuswapia. He's the president of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders. Are you assured?
Yeah. I mean, it's
just 4 hours.
It is reassuring for him. I mean, from the angle from which he came, identifying with the fact that there was really a situation on the ground, and what manifested itself last Friday has actually push them to, get certain things down on the ground. That's not how we wanted problems to be solved, but I mean, it is fortuitous. We are all grateful that.
He says moving forward, they're expected to have done all the clearing of goods and other things within 4 hours. How many hours were you using to process valuation and classification documents?
It's interesting you are talking about hours. We actually look at days. I mean, as we speak today, if we must add the process of the CCVR to the clearance process, then we are talking about sometimes 2-3 weeks.
2-3 weeks.
Very horrible.
Is this 4 hours achievable?
It is achievable. You see, the whole thing, if you look at elsewhere where these things have succeeded, they have a very robust, how do you call it, risk management engine, which profiles just about anything, the importer, the product, the country from which the goods are coming from, the agent involved. We have been doing this thing for God knows how many years. If we have a wealth of information in there, which is able to just look at the profile of the particular consignment that is coming, that business which is coming, you can comfortably, even without any magic, tell that, look, let this good pass. Let's hold this one. Let's send this one to the importer's warehouse, because you would have profiled the warehouse. You would have known the type of warehouse that the importer has. Whatever intermediate activities that you want to ensure. If you want to put a custom seal, go keep it there. We are coming to your warehouse to inspect. These are the things that are happening elsewhere. It is really not rocket science.
I know that as an association, you've been quite vocal in stating your case and also expressing your frustrations. But beyond the lamentations, what suggestions have you made yourselves to improve upon the process?
You see, if you take the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, heralding the paperless situation, we have a school actually dishing out diploma courses in freight forwarding and supply chain management and all of that. I mean, just heralding this, we actually we have a course going on, actually trying to retool our chief executives in the usage of the Microsoft suite and certain enterprise resource planners that we ourselves are coming up with, because we know that into the future it is going to be ICT platform. One of the things too that we strongly want to push out there is to take care of the blockers for success. The blockers for success could be those who have anxieties, who think that they're going to lose out. You have to identify these folks and deal with their psychology, These things are not being done. I can agree that if you look at the time the Vice President announced this and the delivery date, it is very audacious. Probably we cannot cross every T and dot every I. But going forward, we will have to isolate some of these anxieties and treat it, because otherwise they become a national security threat. I believe the state actors will be looking towards this direction.
I'd like you to respond to this text that just came in as we wrap up the conversation. And it says, some suggestions have come up recently that the recent agitations by the clearing agents is because they want to protect their inefficiencies, illegal and alleged deals with the customs officials. Is there any truism in this?
You see, this fits perfectly into the stereotype. We want to let folks know out there that we have come of age. This industry has been normed out of nothing. When you look at perhaps the clearing shipping subsector is perhaps one area where you walk into and you begin to work and begin to make money. But this has been allowed to fester for far too long. We are ingesting a certain new dynamism into how business is done. And I want to tell you that this stereotype, we are working at dismantling it.
So you have no interest at all in protecting or continuing with the inefficiencies of the ports?
See, the process which is being introduced, the audit trail is there. So if you, out of ignorance, want to perpetuate yourself in the past practices, then you have something to contend with into the future. The audit trail, you cannot obliterate it. It is there forever. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Kwabena Ofuswapia is the president of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, talking about the paperless exercise, which is expected to take off in the next 10 days at the country's port of entry. That's a Tema port. I've also been speaking on the phone lines to Isaac Krento, who's Acting Commissioner at the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Thanks for watching, and thanks for joining us in studio. We'll go on a short break. When we return, we'll bring you a mover segment, and I'll be talking to the Chief Executive Officer of DecoCraft, Ikea Obenwa-Donko. You've got to stay tuned in because she's got some exciting things to tell you about her craft and her trade and what she intends to do in the next few years. After that, we've also got our analysis on the stock market as well as the commodities market. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hello, good evening, and welcome to your favorite program, The Mover Segments, live on TV3. Tonight we are inside Ashoman Estate, and I'm going to be speaking to a young lady who is into the production of handmade chocolates. We're going to be finding out all about her business and what the future portends for her. She's the CEO of DecoCraft, Ikea Obenwa-Donko. Ikea, good evening and welcome to the program.
Thank you.
You recently won an award at the Ghana Startup Awards. How does that make you feel?
It makes me happy and to know that it's people appreciate what I do. Yes.
I see. How long have you been doing this?
For 4 years now.
For 4 years now. Yes. What are handmade chocolates?
Handmade chocolate is unlike the store-bought ones. It's made more with the hands than with machines. Yes, or a few machines and then a little bit of manual work. Yeah.
So you started this 4 years ago. Yeah. Had you any experience in chocolate making?
No, actually it was new at that time, and I'm glad I was part of the first group of people that cocoa processing trained in handmade chocolates making. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see. And how many workers do you start with?
I was alone.
How much do you need to start up this whole business?
Initially, I started with $1,000. Okay, fortunately, as soon as
you had $1,000 4 years ago.
No, not for me, for my dad.
Okay.
Yes. So as soon as I finished the course, I think I finished in December. By January, he gave me the $1,000 to start the company, or to start with the chocolate machines.
And how has the feedback been?
It's been good because the company has grown further onwards, yes, and now we can sell and buy our own machines.
Okay, you started by saying you had to start this all by yourself.
Yeah.
How many workers do you have now?
I have 3 permanent, and then we can go up to 20 when we have large orders. So we have some women on our list and a few men on our list that we call on when we have a huge order. Yeah.
Where do you source your raw materials from?
We work with cocoa mass, which is already grinded cocoa paste, and we buy it from a company in Tema. Yes.
All right, okay, so kindly take me through the process of producing handmade chocolate.
Okay, so
So these are the cocoa beans?
These are cocoa beans.
Okay.
When it gets to Accra, the companies, they roast it and then take off the shells and then they grind it for us and we buy it.
How much you buy? Is it expensive?
It's, let's say, $100 for 25 kilos.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And what does 25 kilos look like?
A box, a big box.
A big box.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quite a big.
Okay.
Yeah. So when they give, that is, so cocoa beans that have been grinded is called cocoa mass. So that is what we buy, okay, and we bring it here and we start our processing. It comes here. This is what we call a crunching machine.
Okay.
So this is our own recipe. So we put in our ingredients, including the cocoa mass, to get this. So this is the chocolate and it's ready to be molded.
Okay.
Okay, so this helps the chocolate to be very, very smooth. Yes.
All right. So from here?
From here, then we'll pour the chocolate out.
That's very liquid.
Yes. So this contains milk, sugar, cocoa butter, and cocoa mass.
Okay.
Yes. One thing about chocolate is that you can make it to suit what the client wants, or sometimes the client's health needs.
Okay.
So if you come to us and you tell us, I don't like sugar in my chocolates, you want me to, like, you want us to use honey for it, we can use that for you.
All right. So from this stage, what next?
Then we come to the tempering stage, which is very important because that helps the chocolate to keep its shape even after it's being sold to someone. If you temper it well, it won't melt under Ghana's hot weather.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's been used for the measurement.
Yes, I was actually checking the temperature of the chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the required measurement?
For milk chocolate is 30 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
Yes. So
you have to stir it.
Yeah, so that the temperature will come down.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We have machines for it, but I think over here we are faster with the hand. So we have our machines, but we don't use it because we prefer using the hand than the machines.
So how long is this process going to take you?
It can take up to 20 to 30 minutes. It depends on how hot it is.
Okay.
And if I had poured it earlier too, it would have taken less time for it to cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're done with this, you pour it
into the mold.
Into the mold?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So sometimes we can make milk chocolate with granuts, milk chocolate with peanuts. We even have milk chocolate with plantain chips.
Okay.
Yes, and it's very crispy.
Okay.
So from here, we'll put it into the fridge.
Oh,
yes.
You store it into the fridge.
Yes.
What are you looking out for?
Okay, so it's supposed to come out as solid. You see, this is liquid. So when you put it in the fridge, it will come out as solid. Then you can wrap it and package it.
Okay. Okay. 5 to 10 minutes.
Yes.
You've been doing this for 4 years. And how much do you produce in a day?
We can produce up to 300 chocolate bars in a day.
300 chocolate bars in a day. For certain specific markets?
Okay, right now we do a lot of customization, but we also sell our popular brand, Greetings from Ghana.
Greetings from Ghana?
Yes, at Wild Gecko. Yes.
I see.
We do a lot of fairs as well. We do chocolate shoes, chocolate bouquets. We have chocolate football. We do chocolate eggs at times. So it's like chocolate for specific occasions. That's what we are doing here. Whatever we get from the company, we are reinvesting in it. And trust me, if you had come here like 4 years ago, you wouldn't have met this place. So that shows how far we've come. And
so you're operating right from your parents' house?
Yes.
Are they charging you?
They are not, but I pay electricity bill, and this place is FDA certified.
Wow.
Yes.
Which means what?
Which means FDA has given me permission to produce from here.
They come to inspect?
Yeah, they come to inspect.
You give them some to taste?
Yeah, I give them some to taste, and I take it to the lab, GSA, for it to be tested. So I have a certification for my product.
I see about 3 workers, all ladies. Is this some kind of gender discrimination?
I like to work with ladies, and I believe as ladies we have to empower each other. So even with our part-time workers, most of them are women. Yes.
You need to get some men.
We do, but
you need to.
I think we prefer the women.
I see.
Yeah.
They look excited.
Yeah.
Do they get to taste some?
Not when you're working.
Is that a rule here?
Yes, a rule here. No licking of hands.
But I can taste.
Yes, let me take the one
so just
from
get
the
me one
fridge,
so I can taste.
and then you can taste.
I've got the rare privilege of tasting whilst working. And trust me, if it's not nice, I'll tell you.
Okay. So this is the chocolate.
It better be nice.
Yes. So this is how the chocolate looks like.
Okay.
After we've brought it out of the fridge.
This is what you just put in?
Yes, this is what we just put in.
Okay.
So I'll just turn it. And you have this.
Can I keep the rest?
Sure, you can.
Okay, so it's very nice.
Okay, thank you.
And I love it.
Thank you.
What does the future look like for you?
So currently we want to expand. And as you can see, this.
How much do you need to expand?
$100,000.
$100,000.
Yes.
So assuming I were an angel investor,
Yeah.
would you give me equities in your business if I wanted to invest?
Yes, I would.
You would?
Yes.
You don't mind giving equity out?
No, I don't. If it's with the right investor, I don't have a problem.
Wow.
Yeah, that is the potential growth.
How organized is your business? I mean, I see workers here. You tell me about reinvesting your profits into the business.
Yeah.
How structured is it? Do you have accountants? Do you have auditors?
Okay, yes, we do. We even pay our taxes. We do the annual financial report to GRA. So this is not just, it's a small place, but we are trying to do the right thing.
So you've got an accountant?
Yes, accountant, but part-time, not full-time.
Okay.
Yes, who does our accounts for us? Yes.
I see. So you got an investor to put in some money for equity.
Yeah.
What are you going to tell him or her?
I believe that this is a great product, and it's not just for the Ghana market. We've had requests from Mauritius, from Nigeria, from Togo, we've been there, and also from Kenya. Okay, but we can't produce that much, and there is a huge market for chocolate. The annual market size for chocolate, as of last year, was $19 billion. Okay, so there's a huge market for it, and with Ghana being the number one, it's actually the second largest producer of cocoa, and our cocoa beans are premium. So you see, there is the market for it, and we need to expand. So it's not it's a profit making business actually. Yes.
I see. So you started this when you were in school, or you had this idea of business when you were in school?
Yeah, I had this idea of business when I was in school. Actually, when I was in school, I was doing events, decorating event grounds for some small money that I could add to my pocket money. Yeah.
You've always liked business, right?
Yes, I have.
So for lots of the young graduates who come out of school and are complaining there are no jobs, it's difficult, what do you have to tell them?
I believe you have to, that thing is, I believe it's laziness. You have to look around your community and find a need that you can solve, and then you do it and add the profit-making money to it.
But okay, you were fortunate to have your dad give you $1,000. There are
Yeah.
people who can't get $1,000 to invest.
Okay, it's not, I believe that when you start, trust me, chocolate making is capital intensive. So with $1,000, it's nothing.
But at least you had
Yeah,
something.
I had $1,000.
So people have ideas, you've got dreams. Maybe you should be speaking to governments to help reduce the cost of borrowing, so people can get access to funds.
Okay, sure, but that's not an easy approach. But I believe that even if governments will come in, they need to see you do something. So start with whatever you have, pray, and God will do the rest for you.
Okay, reading through your profile, I noticed that you studied a bit of graphic designing.
Yes.
Did you design all these?
No, I don't design it. I outsource to another startup company.
Okay.
Yes.
And you pay them for that?
Yeah, I pay them for that. But I have a good eye for good things. So when it comes, I have to make sure it's the best for the client.
Okay, so these are a few of your packaging.
Yes.
For specific clients?
Yes. So
I see Ghana 60 years on.
Yes.
You got a contract from that?
No, but we made it for Ghana at 60. So this one started in March.
Okay.
We started selling this in March.
Okay.
And we did a profile on the big sticks because they help Ghana to gain independence. So when you buy the chocolate, you get to read a profile about them at the back. Yeah, so we'll be selling this throughout the year.
Okay. For instance, how soon are you looking at exploring other markets?
Gradually we are researching, but we'll start with Africa before we go to other parts.
All right. Thank you very much, Ikuya Donko. She's the Chief Executive Officer of Deco Crafts. And as you can just see here, beautiful award being displayed here at the recent Ghana Startup Club 100 Awards, which is held at the Mervyn Peak Ambassador Hotel. That's all for our Mover segment tonight. My name is Parkwesi Asari. Thanks very much for watching. Hopefully next week we'll come your way with yet another edition of your favorite program, the Mover segment.
Thank you.
All right, so you're welcome back to Business Focus, your weekly business and economic analysis program. Grab one of the handmade chocolate. I'll buy you one after the show, and I promise you won't regret it. So let's quickly wrap up with the analysis of the commodities market as well as the stock market. I've been joined by Justice Edu. He's a financial analyst with First Bank Financial Services. Justice, good to see you. So let's start with the commodities. I think gold has been the strongest over the past 1 week. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, indeed, you're correct. Gold has performed quite well. During the week, we saw a marginal drop, but that was corrected this year. And for most investors on the market, if you look at inflation in the US and inflation in the Eurozone, it hasn't risen as sharply as we had expected. In the Eurozone, gradually you can see most of the countries picking up. There's increasing demand, there's consumption, and that should lead to positive sentiment. The unfortunate thing is that the level of rise the central bank there was expecting, they've not seen that. And so interest rates have not risen as they wanted to. And when interest rates don't rise, it tends to have a positive impact on gold prices. So investors are net long, they are more positive about gold. And so even though last week there was a marginal decline, it was self-corrected this morning, during trading today. So prices have picked up, and it's inching closer to the $1,300 per ounce that has been like a resistance level for the past couple of months now.
Can you quickly look at the gold and oil?
For oil, it's still not looking too bright. Last week we saw prices decline, and even today as well we've seen prices decline. The reason has been that in the US and in Canada, even though production is increasing, their inventory levels are reducing. And because inventory levels are reducing, it means that there's demand. And when there is demand, you realize that because now the prices are low, most of the oil producers are trying to be the first to fill up that demand gap. So that would in itself lead to excess supply onto the market, especially if you look at the fact that there's still production increasing. So because of the fact that there's some demand, most of the suppliers are trying to front run the market. And that in itself is leading to excess supply and causing price to decline. So last week it was trading around $52.64 per barrel, and it's dropped further to about 51.74, and that trend should continue going forward.
In a minute, let's quickly look at the stock market after the listing of UT. What's been the response from the stock market? What's been happening?
The response has been mixed. For banking stocks, we didn't see a lot of activity this past week. I think Access Bank lost 50 pesos last week, and it regained that 50 pesos today. But the general concern most of us have is that because of the delisting of UT, it's likely there will be some apprehension by investors who would want to
especially again because of the news out there,
exactly
the number of banks that are also suffering. All the names have not been mentioned.
Especially if you look at the fact that essentially people who bought UT, especially those who bought UT shares this year, don't really know how they'll make their money back. So it's created all this uncertainty. And going for it might, the financial markets run on confidence. And if confidence is low, especially in banking stocks, our market is largely driven by banking stocks. So if there is growing mistrust or when confidence in our banking stocks are reduced, it's likely to affect the index. And if you look at the trend from the beginning of the year till now, you realize that the index has performed very well. In Africa, we have one of the best performing markets. But the rate of acceleration or the increases have not been as exponential as we saw from the beginning of the year. And there are several reasons for that. And if I'm to tie that into the UT issue, I don't think it would help, especially if you look at the fact that we are trying to grow our capital markets.
Justice, I've got to say a big thank you to you. Thanks for helping us do this within this limited time. That's all for the Business Focus, your weekly business and economic analysis show live here on TV3. Thanks very much for watching, and thanks to my producers as well for a good show. We're going to take the evening news 360 with Alfred and Natalie. God willing, same time next week, we'll come your way with another show. My name is Parkwisi. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.